Hi there, Serial Trader here. I got a request from Mr. Ray to discuss fifth wave targets, and there was a decent example I'll use today from the intraday price action on SPX here. Now overall, we had a gap up open, and then we sold off strongly from there. It looks like we put in a nice potential 5 waves down for either a larger wave A or wave 1, and then we did this ABC up for a larger A, ABC down for a larger B, and then 5 waves up for a larger C. So an ABC expanded flat for either a larger wave B or 2. And then later, towards the end of the day, it looks like we're starting the next wave down for either a C wave or a third wave. But all that aside, I'd like to just focus in on this 5 wave sequence within the expanded flat, okay? And I'll go through basically the common objectives in a typical 5 wave sequence impulse wave. Now there's some multiple targets you want to put in to get a cluster. So a common objective would be a 618 relationship. So the distance traveled in waves 1 through 3, so this entire length traveled from the origin of wave 1 to the termination point of wave 3, project that off of the termination point of wave 4, and a 618 relationship of that is a common fifth wave target. So let me just throw that up there. So you see we went slightly through that 618 relationship, but not by a whole lot, and then reversed nicely. So that's one of the common fifth wave relationships. Another relationship, particularly if you have an extended third wave. Now in this case, this third wave is only slightly longer than the first wave, so it's not an extended third wave. But in the case of an extended third wave, a fairly common relationship for a fifth wave would be the distance traveled in wave 1 projected off of the termination point of wave 4. So wave 5 versus 1 equality, that would be a fairly common relationship, okay? So just to go through that, 5 versus 1 equality. So you just take this measurement of wave 1, project it off of wave 4, and put the equality relationship in there. And you can see that lined up fairly closely with that 618 relationship between waves 1 through 3 as well. So that's another target in there. And then also you have what's called a Fibonacci divider. And that's where you do basically a retracement. And you just pull it up here like this. And usually it's just the 3 main ones here. So 38.2, 50%, or 61.8%. So a fib divider. So basically you're just off the low of the move that you're working here. And let me just make sure I've got the right thing I've grabbed here. Okay, so off that low. And then, okay, so we don't have the high yet, right? Say we're in the middle of this fifth wave, it's not done yet. But a common Fibonacci divider is for that whole impulse wave to have that wave 4 termination point be the 50% level within the entire impulse wave sequence. And then after you do that, and let me just throw this, there we go. That's the line I want. So this is called a Fibonacci divider. And a common one, probably the most common I think, is that 50% division. So that termination point of wave 4 marks the 50% level of the entire sequence. And then of course that gives you a projected high. And this actually hit it almost perfectly. So let's see here. 28.8970, we made it high at 28.8967. So pretty much bang on a nice 50% fib divider. So I'll get rid of those other 2 fib levels just so it's not cluttered there. Get rid of that 618 and 382. Okay, so by dividing the whole sequence at that wave 4 extreme by that 50% level, you get that projected top, and that was quite nice. And then of course within the fifth wave itself, you can, once it gets closer to completing, you can start making some projections off of that as well. But those are some pretty good levels to work with. And then of course, you know, we had a beautiful ABC expanded flat here, and then or flat, and then we terminated and turned down nicely into the close. But you can see you get a cluster. It's not an exact level, but it's a cluster. And when you have that cluster, you then start looking at the subdivisions. So on the, let's go to the 1 minute price chart. On the 1 minute price chart for this fifth wave, well, we had this initial wave one up, or sorry, this is the actual fifth wave we're working. So we had this initial little move up, and we had a move down to a higher low, so our first little retracement. This is probably a third wave up. This was a deep fourth wave, but we didn't actually overlap that wave one. So let me just throw some numbers up here. Little wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we are working our fifth. And let's get this degree down a bit. Okay. And in this case, we actually had like an extended fifth wave. But we had this 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you have that fourth wave, you can do a reverse fib. And that's just where you go the entire range of that fourth wave, reverse fib extension, and you do the 1.382 and the 2.0 relationships. And you can see the 1.382 again, it got us right up into that 2888 area, and we actually peaked at 2889. So within a very close range of accuracy. And what was really nice here, I'll zoom out now that I did that little 1 minute reverse fib. Let's throw it on the 5 minute again, or no, is that what I wanted? 3 minute, there we go. What's nice here is you get that cluster of Fibonacci relationships. So when they line up like this, so close to one another, that's a very high confidence range for either if you're long from lower levels, selling your long, exiting your long, or if you want to try and get short for potential reversal on a wave down, that's kind of the zone where you want to attempt to do that. And then of course you'd put your stop loss at a reasonable level above there, but that's your zone to get in. So hopefully that's helpful as far as trying to calculate some fifth wave projections. Now, of course, you need some data before you can start doing this. Now, if I zoom in here, I mean, say we were over here, we just had our A up, our B down. We didn't know yet enough information to start making these projections. But as we got maybe around here, and we had a little 1, 2, 3, and this was kind of the tell. You had a pullback, three-wave looking pullback. Didn't overlap with that proposed wave one. Now it's like, okay, we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, probably going to get a fifth wave up to a new high. Now we can start making some targets. And then, of course, as we made those targets, we got a pretty high confidence zone there, and it reacted quite nicely. So it's nice to see it cooperate like that. So again, distance traveled in wave 1 through 3 projected off of 4. 618 relationship of that is a common one. Wave 1 versus 5 equality projected off of wave 4, especially if there's an extended third wave. That's a common relationship. You have that fib divider where you do a retracement of the entire move before the move's actually done and try and line it up so that you have a 50% level dividing that fourth wave extreme. And then, of course, if that's not lining up very well, you check the 382, you check the 618, you try to find one that looks like it's plausible, especially if it lines up with some of these other targets. And then once you get closer into that fifth wave itself, and you get a little fourth wave, you can do that reverse fib, get your 1.382 and 2.0 levels. And when you do all that, you get a nice cluster, a high confidence zone for the market to, peak out and reverse. Or if you're doing a fifth wave to the downside, peak out and turn back up. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll do a regular market update there later on. All right, Serial Trader signing off.